One of the most important things when you're out here, you're starting to scan offshore, that a lot of people forget about is to start a new trail on their GPS unit. And what happens is that a lot of people think that you're using those trails in order to find your way back to, you know, the boat ramp on an unfamiliar body of water, a place that you've never been. But one thing that I like to do when I start in the morning, the very first thing I do if I'm fishing offshore is I start a new trail. And remember, you want to start one at the console, and you want to start one at the front as well, because they don't actually share, you know, the trails. So what you want to do is go in here, start a new trail, and you're going to be able to see where you've been, where you haven't been. So let's say the first of the week, you know, you've scanned the north end of the lake, and then you end the next day you want to start where you left off. You'll know exactly which bars you've looked at, which places you've looked at, which places you haven't looked at. And I can't tell you how many times out here in the summertime, if there's a school of fish on a place that you know they're there, you can go back in between those trails, those paths that you've already made, and you know good and well they're there, and boom, there they are, right in between those two trails. So I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about whenever you get those trails. Whenever you're doing your zigzags out here and you're looking for those schools of fish, or you're going straight down a river ledge looking at side scan, either way, you can go right back down that same trail, and a lot of times it'll pick you up an extra school of fish or two. So when I zoom out here on my sea map, you can actually see that. You can see that trail. I've looked at this whole bar down here, probably a quarter-mile stretch right here. You know, a stretch this long, you know, chances are you're gonna see them somewhere down through there. But if you've got a sweet spot on there where they were just a couple of days ago, and you know they're not gonna go far in the summertime, they're just gonna, you know, they're gonna go back and forth within 75 yards either way. You look back at that same trail and you go in between those trails, a lot of times you'll pick them up. So you missed them right there, you cut out wide, and they could be, if they're in a real tight spot, you know, if there's just 5 or 10 of them, then they could be right there in between where you haven't looked yet.